Hi, this is Jonna Van Nuys of Blue Dog Farms, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about 9/11 and the impact it had on me and my life, my career in the Navy, given that we're at the 20-year anniversary of the event. So on September 11th of 2001, I was stationed on board the USS Peleliu, LHA-5, and I was on my first deployment. I was actually in Darwin, Australia on 9/11 doing what every good sailor does. I was up a few $1,000s at the MGM Grand Blackjack tables. And we got the word of the attacks against the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. And things changed significantly for me, not only in my life on that day, but also in the Navy, in that when we left earlier that year, we were at peace Navy. And when we came back, we were a Navy at war. And that changed literally everything for how we operated in the Navy. It changed what my next duty station was going to be, and it really changed the trajectory for my career. So as we're looking back at 20 years, I just want to remind everybody to remember, don't ever forget what happened those days, and thank the people who are serving today in support of our freedom and our country. Thank you.
I was a junior at Park High School on 9/11. I was in history class sitting next to my best friend at the time, and our history teacher pulled out the TV on the cart and was like, "You guys got to see this. Something crazy happened. They crashed into a building." And so he pulls out the TV, has it on, and we watched the second plane hit the building. Obviously, we didn't know that was going to happen, so we saw that live, and it was just really chaotic and sad and I guess confusing for us to see that. I guess up to that point we'd seen terrorism, but not like that. I did not join the Marine Corps because of 9/11. I always knew I was going to join the military in some way. My dad even mentioned that to me once, and he said, "I know you're going to join. I just want you to go to college first." And so I did. And after I graduated college, within a couple years, I ended up signing my papers to go to the Marine Corps OCS in Quantico. And then in 2011, shortly after finishing up all my training, I was in Afghanistan from February to September of 2011 with an infantry unit as an infantry platoon commander. I still remember it a lot. Anytime I smell smoke, it reminds me of Afghanistan when they would burn their leftover poppy, the plants and other stuff. They would burn it all the time. So I'm glad I went. I'm glad I joined the Marine Corps. I'm actually transferring into the Minnesota National Guard now. I will continue being in the infantry as an officer, but I'll be in the Army. So it's an interesting time. Obviously 20 years later, I've changed a lot. A lot has changed in the world and in our country. So it's a good time to remember where you were and how you felt. Thank you.
Hey everybody, Dave Coakley, United States Air Force vet, 1987 to 2007, and talking a little bit about the 9/11 and how that's impacted my career. So, my dates of service, you can see that 2000, I was almost 3/4 of the way through my career. And, it was a moment that we went from being just doing training and hanging out at Operation Southern Watch, really not doing a whole lot of stuff, to instantly defending the United States. And at the time, I was stationed at the 305th Air Mobility Wing out of McGuire Air Force Base. Worked on the KC-10A refuelers, and so as you can imagine, our refueling aircraft were instantaneously called into action, not only to refuel over DC, New York, and up and down the East Coast, but also for the operations going on or that were about to go on in Afghanistan and Iraq. So it was an interesting time where everybody gelled together. We came up with the same mission. We knew we had things to do, but sadly, that's kind of fallen apart, and we're kind of right back where we started at, or even worse. But it was a time I'm glad I went through, but not one I want to go through again, if that makes any sense.
I remember the events of September 11th, 2001 very clear. That day changed my life forever. I remember watching the towers fall on the TV. I remember the sadness I felt long for so many people on that day. I remember thinking about the families. I remember thinking about the people that had no other choice but to jump from the buildings. I remember thinking about how angry I was. But I also knew that I'm not the type of person to ask questions and demand answers and not do anything about it. Because of September 11th, 2001, it solidified my decision to join the Army. I joined the 101st Air Assault Division out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky as a military police officer, and I left for basic training just 6 days after I graduated high school. I deployed to Iraq in March of 2003, and I was injured by a roadside bomb in January of 2004, receiving the Purple Heart. Everything that happened and has happened in my life leading up to this point right now, while I record this video reflecting back on September 11th, was because of that day. That day impacted my life so much that I felt like I needed to do something about it. Though I was injured in the wars following the September 11th attacks, I wouldn't give it back for anything. Because on that recovery and that journey that I have led has led me here to be the owner and operator of Freedom Acres, South Dakota, with the slogan of grow, sustain, and recover. The people that are affected by September 11th, 2001, the families, the people that were passed away, the firemen and the first responders that are still struggling because of the circumstances that they were in, I am here too. And I think of you all the time. You are not alone.
Hello, I'm Master Sergeant Tom LePage. During September the 11th, 2001, I was a member of the Maine Air National Guard in South Portland, Maine. I'll never forget the day, September 11th, 2001. I was on coffee break at the phone company, and we'd heard that a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center, and at first we thought it was just a small single propeller plane because that had happened before. Following the incident at the South Tower, the Pentagon, and then Flight 93 in Pennsylvania, the aftershock of such just left everybody speechless, unable to move. It was just unfathomable. It was the word that I think that I would use. It was just so intense that such a thing could happen here. And shortly thereafter, I received a call from the commander of my guard unit and ordered me to show up Monday following 9/11. And he said it wasn't a drill, and to come in first thing Monday morning and bring my bags. Within 4 days, on the fourth day, we were on a flight on a C-5 out of Westover Air Reserve Base in Massachusetts, headed for the Middle East, and we didn't know where we were going. We knew we were on the hook for a year. We didn't know what was expected of us. All we knew was that our country had been attacked and that we were doing what we were called upon by our nation and what we felt was just. I'll never forget the feelings of intense pride and dedication to duty and just the camaraderie. We all had a common goal. Everybody really pulled together, even, you know, as a nation. It was an awesome feeling that the whole nation had pulled together like that, and I wished it had stuck around longer. I guess it's fitting a plane's flying over as I'm recording this. The Guard unit had a great farewell ceremony for us. The governor of the state of Maine had come down. It was incredible, and we were overcome with an intense sense of patriotism, and some might call it nationalism, but for sure patriotism and allegiance to our country. And we just felt like it was our turn, it was our calling, and we didn't bat an eyelash about going. And it was a traumatic event in the fact that our nation had been attacked on its own soil, and the National Guard in the state of Maine hadn't been activated since 1951 in Korea, so we were the first group of people to be activated in over 50 years. It's something that'll live with me forever, and the things that I saw were things that I could only have imagined seeing, but bearing witness to them has left me very different than the person that went over there all those years ago. The person that came. I guess what the takeaway is from all of it, it just gives me a sense of how great our country has become in terms of taking care of its veterans, and I'm eternally grateful for what I've received. When I came back, my mother and my sisters, they had tied yellow ribbons around oak trees at the edges of their lawns, and I still will remember my parents' faces when I came back. And to all of you veterans out there who are struggling, there is hope for you. There is hope. Please don't ever give up hope. There is help available for you, and please take care of yourselves. You're not alone, and there are others of us who have felt on the brink of mental collapse, and we've somehow pulled through, and it's miraculous, the help that I received. And so to those of you in particular who are struggling, and especially with the pullout of Afghanistan, it's been something that's been troubling me as well. But please talk to someone, pick up that line if you need to, call a vet. We understand. Take care of yourselves. Peace.
Our compassion, love, and understanding has us today as spouses and children to make sure we honor and acknowledge every single action that each and every one of you has done and is continuing to do for our country. We are truly honored beyond measure of the time and energy that has been put within protecting and serving our country. At this amazing time where each and every one of us has been affected in some way, shape, or form, we here to say thank you for service to our country.
Like everybody, like every single American, 9/11 changed the trajectory of my life. I was farming in Mexico at the time, and it was peak harvest time with our tomato crops. I was real busy, got up early to get to work at our packing facility, and saw the planes hit, saw the first one, watched the second one. My first thought, honestly, was about my daughter. She worked at the building facing the towers, and how was she? And it took us a while. I talked to my other daughters, who got a phone call from her fiance that he had been in touch with her, that she was alive and well and outside the building, and asked her to wait where she was, right across the street, watching everybody as they ran out of the building, as they fell to the ground in front of her. So it was a scary time. And they shut the border down to the U.S. for a couple weeks. We almost lost our business exporting vegetables to the U.S. We're a U.S. company. The sales were just crushed overnight. It also got me to think differently. It also got me to think about the men and women that served in our country. My son joined the military within weeks after 9/11, and something I didn't do as a young man. And it got me to think about him and the other men and women that served, and what drove them, and what was that courage like, and that sense of sacrifice like that they carried uniquely. And FEC was born out of all those changes in me and changes in the country. I was a farmer. What could I do? I could help the veterans who came back, and help share with them my passion and my love for growing food and the opportunity it created. And that's where the Farmer Veteran Coalition was born.